Go. Say it's your first time going fishing. You don't know where to go, what to use, and especially who to ask. Many new fishermen face this harsh reality when they try to go fishing for the first time. My hope is to guide them through what they need to know for the journey called angling. The first thing we need to cover is where to go. When picking a location, you need to think of one of three things. Number one is distance. Depending on how far you need to drive, you need to prepare for waking up at an early time, so you can spend as much daylight as you can on the water. Furthermore, getting to the body of water early is also a benefit for superior fish activity. According to strikeandcatch.com, morning fish activity is heightened due to higher oxygen levels in the water. So try to take advantage of this by waking up earlier than usual. The second is accessibility. When trying to find a location to fish, one of the most important parts is finding where you and your gear can go and where you can actually go fishing. This may sound foolish, but if you cannot physically fish from the banks or from the boat on a body of water, then you just wasted an entire day. Some things to look out for are private property, inaccessible banks, and high density surrounding the banks with foliage. Before you go fishing, try and scout out an area beforehand to make sure you and your gear can physically and legally fish the lake and or pond. Lastly is targeting species. Before you go fishing, you need to think about what you are looking to catch. Depending on the species you are looking for, they may be found in different varieties of water. If you're looking for a panfish bite, you may need to take a step back from a large lake and find a small stream. As always, the fish can only become as big as their environment allows them so. Try and find a larger body of water when fishing for a larger species of fish like walleye and or northern pike. Don't be discouraged by sizes of water and always fish like the next cast is going to have a bite. Along with the targeting species, you need to know what to use. According to VenezuelaMarina.com, fishing lures are small artificial objects, often shaped like a fish's prey, that are attached to a hook and tied to the end of a fishing line. They're used to attract fish to your line. So this is a fishing lure. Some main points of it are the bill, the rattle, the body, the hooks, and the hook trebles. The hook trebles are used so the fish, once it bites it, it gets lashed onto the lip, and it can't come off backwards. The color of it, depending on the body of water, you might need to use a darker shades of water, and lighter for lighter shades of color. The bill also makes it go deeper or shallower. Depending on the bill size, smaller is usually shallower, longer is deeper. As you can see, fishing lures have a lot of moving parts and functions. This does not catch all fish though. If you're looking for a smaller bite, you might need less hook. When I say less hook, I mean downsizing your lure. Smaller fish, smaller lure. Depending on the season, you might also need to downsize your lure. Colder months, fish become sluggish and are not looking for a big meal. The fish are looking for a small, quick meal that can be eaten without too much energy exertion. There's a second type of lure called bait. Bait is fishing with a living specimen. This may include a worm, a leech, a minnow, or a maggot. All of these can be used to catch a variety of fish. Depending on what you are fishing for, the type of bait will vary. Using a leech may catch bigger fish, but using a smaller bait like a maggot will catch smaller panfish like a bluegill or perch. These just like lures also depend on the weather, so take this into consideration when choosing the live bait. Finally is who to ask. You know how to pick a spot and what to use, but to be an even better fisherman, you need to ask about for any hot lakes and or ponds. Asking around may seem difficult at first, but once you get a hang of it, this will be one of the main ways you and your partners will find fish. Now, I don't recommend going around and asking any old person where the fish are biting. You need to think twice where you can meet people with good spots to fish. One of the best places is at the boat ramp. You can introduce yourself and ask if they have had any luck on the day. Once you get into small talk, try to make a connection with them. According to lifehacker.com on how to make a connection, people are largely more inclined to share their own subjective experiences than to ask for follow-up questions about someone else's interests. So start talking about your past successes in different areas. This will often make them want to brag about what they've caught in different spots. This way you both get something out of it, a new spot. Another great spot to ask around is your local bait shop. may already be going there to get a bait for the day, so it is a prime spot to ask for fishing advice. Many of the workers will have a good idea of what's biting from talking to customers throughout the day. Everywhere that I've been, they've always been more than welcome to spill the beans on the hot bite. Asking around can be a game changer for many new and emerging anglers. Just getting out and talking can change you and your fishing game from good to great. Fishing can seem like a daunting activity, but with the right attitude and knowledge, one can easily know how to fish in a matter of weeks. My hope is that you no longer see fishing as an old man in a canoe waiting for hours on end. Instead, I hope you see it as a way to get out and about and become closer with nature and even have a little fun.